that girl needs to be thrown out the league. She's not even a good enough player to be bringing this type of drama. She needs to be thrown out.
Minutes left in the first quarter. DJONAI Carrington just slapped the dog shit out of Sophie Cunningham. Sophie pops up. She's obviously upset. DJONAI says, try me. And then look at Stephanie White. Look at her face. Look. She was mad as shit. Now, number one, this is obviously a flagrant 2. It just is. By the letter of the law, you got to call a flagrant 2.
You guys today, DJONAI Carrington. After clotheslining Sophie Cunningham, running into the locker room, screaming, "That's white privilege!" Then tweeting 8/23, threatening Sophie Cunningham and the Indiana Fever. DJONAI Carrington now comes out and clarifies what she means when she says white privilege for the Indiana.
What started as a hard foul turned into something much bigger almost instantly. DJONAI Carrington was ejected after a forceful collision with Sophie Cunningham during a Fever Sky matchup, but the real controversy began after she left the court. Within minutes, Carrington posted 2 words online: white privilege. She also tagged the Indiana Fever, and that timing sent social media into overdrive. Was she criticizing the reaction to the foul? Was she referring to something completely different? Carrington later insisted that people had misunderstood her message, but by then the interpretation had already exploded. The reason this became such a huge story wasn't simply the ejection. It was the combination of the violent-looking play, the immediate post, and the fact that Cunningham had already become one of the WNBA's most outspoken personalities. And that meant this controversy was about to move far beyond the basketball court.
Cunningham, otherwise known as MAGA Barbie in the WNBA, is a superstar player. She's one of the most famous female athletes in the world because she stood up for women in women's sports, saying only biological women should be allowed to play in the WNBA. And for that, she is literally risking her life. Check this out. This is what happened to Sophie Cunningham last night when she was clotheslined by a filthy, dirty player for Chicago who has a name that I can't pronounce, or maybe I just refuse to do that. That's my right as an American.
The play itself left almost no room for debate. Cunningham was sprinting toward the basket on a fast break when Carrington came from behind and made heavy contact high around the face and neck area. Cunningham went down hard, and the officials immediately reviewed the play before upgrading it to a flagrant 2 and ejecting Carrington. The bigger question was intent. Carrington later maintained that the contact wasn't meant to injure Cunningham, while Fever coach Stephanie White also said she didn't believe Carrington intentionally targeted her. But the footage was enough to make the moment impossible to ignore. Cunningham got back up visibly angry, and teammates and officials quickly separated the 2 players before the confrontation could escalate. The referees had made their decision, but the controversy was only beginning. Because once Carrington's post hit the internet, the conversation stopped being about one foul and turned into a much deeper argument about race, rivalry, and the growing tension surrounding the Fever.
Goo! That's assault, brother. You can't do that. What the fuck? Is this just the default if you can't think? Or if you just like don't want to take accountability for your actions? Oh my god, this league, bro, this league. Bro, white privilege while you're wearing a bleach blonde dyed wig. I mean, the fuck?
The timing of Carrington's post became the biggest problem. She didn't publish a long explanation or immediately clarify what she meant. She simply wrote, "white privilege," and tagged the Indiana Fever. With Cunningham being white and the post appearing immediately after the ejection, fans and commentators naturally connected the 2 events. Critics argued that the phrase made it seem as if Carrington believed the punishment itself was influenced by Cunningham's race. But that interpretation wasn't the only one being discussed. Carrington later pushed back strongly, saying she had never claimed the flagrant foul was caused by white privilege and accused people of making assumptions about her words. She argued that anyone criticizing her should understand the broader meaning behind the phrase before judging her. That clarification changed the argument, but it didn't end it. In fact, it brought another major voice into the controversy, and his response put Carrington's explanation under an even brighter spotlight.
beyond concerning at this point how far from the plot we have actually gotten. And when I say the plot, I mean the basketball. How far from the game of basketball we have spiraled. When we're talking about the WNBA, you know, we used to joke, it's like, oh, 0 days without drama in the WNBA. This league is living up to it at a rate and a level of concern that we haven't ever had. With all
Emanuel Acho wasn't convinced by Carrington's explanation. His argument was simple. If you post a loaded phrase immediately after being ejected while tagging the team of the player involved, people are going to assume the message is connected to what just happened. Acho emphasized that the officials didn't make their decision based on Cunningham's race. They reviewed the contact because Carrington struck her high and the play carried a clear risk of injury. He also pointed out that hard fouls have been called differently across the league, involving players of every background.
Going on in the WNBA, DJONAI Carrington tweeted out white privilege from the locker room of a game that she was playing in. Get this, she fouled Sophie Cunningham hard. Sophie Cunningham, obviously a white person, fouls her hard. Flagrant 2, gets ejected, goes to the locker room and tweets out white privilege in the middle of the game. Now here's the kicker to me. A flagrant 2 has to be contact that can lead to an injury that looks excessive. DJONAI, it was about as excessive as possible. If there was any evidence of there being white privilege, this was not it. What the hell do y'all?
Carrington fired back, arguing that Acho had misunderstood her point and challenged him to think more critically about what she actually wrote. But that response created another question. If the post wasn't about the foul, what exactly was it about? She had given the public almost no context when she first posted it, leaving millions of viewers to fill in the blanks themselves. And while the argument between the two continued online, another former Fever connection suddenly entered the controversy.
Right across the face, coming down, trying to prevent the layup, but that is just a hard hit. That's definitely going to be upgraded, I think, to a flagrant 2, Ryan.
I think that is going to be a flagrant 2. There is
get what you fucking deserve.
And just getting her out of the
Lucky
way.
it wasn't a right hook.
Make no mistake about it. Carrington targeted Cunningham. She targeted her because of her political stances. She targeted Cunningham because of the praises that she keeps receiving. She targeted her with a dirty shot.
Then another reaction made the situation even more uncomfortable. Former Fever teammate Sydney Colson publicly reacted to the foul and appeared to celebrate what happened to Cunningham. That caught attention because Colson had shared a locker room with Cunningham just one season earlier. Instead of the controversy staying between two opposing players, it was now pulling former teammates, analysts, and fans into the argument. At the same time, Stephanie White's comments added another layer. White said she didn't believe Carrington intentionally went after Cunningham's neck, while still acknowledging that the foul was hard and that Carrington was simply competing. To supporters of Cunningham, that response felt surprisingly soft. To Carrington's defenders, it was a reminder that a physical play doesn't automatically prove malicious intent. But the debate was about to become even larger than one player's reaction.
The way Sophie Cunningham came down on her leg, she could have been injured. So they said, yo, get out of here, dog. Get out of here. Then, I don't know if y'all was looking at her lips. She was talking about, try me. Try me. Yo, you already tried Sophie. You got all the samples of Sophie. You talking about try me. What are you talking about? This lady is unhinged right now, man. This is crazy work. And it makes you wonder. It's like, dog, you were the best player for the Sky at this moment. Look how she landed on the leg. Oh, my goodness. Like, you were the best player for the Sky. And you decided to do this?
What made this controversy so explosive was everything surrounding the Fever. Caitlin Clark and Cunningham have become major draws for the league, bringing enormous attention to games, ticket demand, and television audiences. That has created a strange tension around the WNBA. Some fans believe the league should protect the players driving that attention, while others argue that intense competition shouldn't be turned into a conspiracy every time a star gets hit. Carrington's foul became another example of that divide. Critics saw a dangerous play followed by an inflammatory post. Her supporters saw an emotional moment that was later misunderstood and amplified by social media. Neither side seemed willing to back down. And once race and politics entered the conversation, The original basketball play almost disappeared underneath the controversy.
From the flagrant 2 on DJONAI Carrington against Sophie Cunningham, where she proceeded to go into the locker room and tweet white privilege after being thrown out of the game. I'm not going to comment on that situation, but I will say this. This is a flagrant 2. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, no matter. This is a flagrant. I mean, she clotheslined her. What more do you want? So this looks very bad. It just shows that the WNBA is nowhere near where they need to be professionally, because again, this is a clothesline. It's flagrant 2.
In the end, the flagrant 2 decision itself was straightforward. The officials reviewed the contact, determined it was excessive, and Carrington was ejected. The real mystery was everything that happened afterward. Why did Carrington choose those exact words immediately after the ejection? Why tag the fever? And if the post had nothing to do with Cunningham or the foul, why leave the meaning so open to interpretation? Carrington later insisted that people had drawn the wrong conclusion, but by then the controversy had already taken on a life of its own.
Mention the fact that she said white privilege. That is the story. The story isn't that she got kicked out. It's that she tweeted out white privilege as though because Sophie Cunningham is white, somehow that's why she got kicked out. They go on to defend her, the story, the narrative that she's not a dirty player. She makes plays like this all the time. I put together a little clip of DJ Carrington, who is definitely one of the dirtiest players in the WNBA. I don't know if we can roll it, but she's taken her long fingernails. She's scratched Caitlin Clark's eyes out. She's had multiple instances of chasing people down from behind, trying the same swat and smashing them in the head and causing mini fights.
The bigger lesson may be that in today's WNBA, the final whistle isn't always the end of the story. Sometimes, the most explosive part begins when the players leave the court and open their phones. And this controversy shows just how quickly one moment of basketball can turn into a much bigger battle over perception, identity, and who gets to control the narrative.